From the dining table to the coal mine, this is a vision of Britain from the outside. 23 photographers are represented in this exhibition, and they all have one thing in common: they're not British. The show is curated by iconic photographer Martin Parr, who during his 40-year career has studied the eccentricities of life in the UK.
We're a very strange and surreal country. The people are strange, we are quirky, and I think the foreign photographers come in and spot that almost easier than if you're here, because all the habits that I'm used to, because I'm living here, are actually very strange to these foreign photographers. So they can pick up on things that we would perhaps overlook. Because when you're surrounded by something, we get over-familiar. And that's really what makes this exhibition so fresh and exciting, is we're getting different perspectives on very familiar circumstances and surroundings.
The oldest photos on display date back to the 1930s. Many of the photographers turned their lens on Britain with a specific theme in mind, like Dutch Cash Urthus, who shot scenes of Oxford and Cambridge in the 1950s. US photographer Jim Doe also shoots with a subject in mind. In the UK, it was family-run businesses.
Do you think that there's something different about you because you're not British, being American, that you see in the UK and that you see in Britain?
I don't think it's so much difference in what I see. I think it's a difference in being willing to ask. A friend of mine once said, you know, you get away with things here that if you were from the UK you wouldn't, you know, because you go in with your gringo accent and you say, excuse me, I'd like to photograph your shop, and they say, well, all right. Whereas if I came in with, you know, an English accent, well, what's it in aid of? What? You know? So there's kind of a guilelessness that was attributed to me, which probably is true, that allowed me, for people to trust me and let me in.
Other photographers, like Germany's Frank Habicht, came to the UK open to inspiration.
I came to Britain to experience life, not only to study something. And this happened to me. I was living in an environment, it was not too realistic, but maybe it was just myself, my own feeling and the way I looked at, interpreted life.
The 60s were in full swing. There were protests against war in Vietnam. Habicht became a friend of the Redgraves. A young Vanessa holds a placard here. And here, a Rolling Stones concert in Hyde Park in 1969.
I used to photograph the Rolling Stones on their rooftop near Marble Arch when they were less famous. But again, they were human beings, just young men. And it was fun working with them. So I went to the concert and I enjoyed the crowds. There were well over 500,000 people. And everything was shared.
The exhibition also shows the less glamorous side of Britain over the last 80 years.
Strange and Familiar, that's the title of this exhibition. Strange because all the images here are taken by foreign photographers. This is Britain seen through the stranger's eye. But for those who know the country, there's also something familiar in some of these images.
The formality of the dress codes, bizarre seaside rituals, and British stoicism.
To a foreign photographer, it's a fantastic place to come and photograph. You know, we're very photogenic. The country, the landscape, everything about us makes good photographs.
The relationship between different photographers and the same subject can capture a country's spirit. Belle Lupton, TRT World, London.